Gonzo, it's been a while. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, my friend. Yourself?
I'm not too bad. Well, a lot better. I've got the cold, kind of, so if I cough, excuse me. But since I last spoke to you, last time we were on, I was complaining about not getting tickets for my man. I've got
Yeah.
tickets. I've got tickets since then, so I'm happy. I'm excited.
There you go. And I've caught your cold through the medium of the internet.
Yeah, amazing how things happen these days. There's not loads of massive stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about what there is to talk about. But I'm going to get your opinion on the Spurs game because you're not doing the preview with me tomorrow night. I've got two other people with me. So you can do the Spurs game. But before we do that, we beat Bolton. Cup draws tonight in a couple of hours. Who are you hoping for? Is there anyone you're hoping for?
I'd just take another easy draw. I'm not looking to be brave Hercules and try and... in fact, I don't want Man City away. That's what I don't want. I think the draw's been... We've been lucky with the draw. On any other day, if we'd have got Bolton, they might have been in a different place, but we were lucky. We got Bolton, who were really struggling, and we played them at the right time, at a time when we needed confidence as well. And I would look for the same again. So I haven't really paid much attention to whoever else got through. I'll tell you what I don't want. I don't want Leeds. Leeds have got a bit of a vibe about them at the moment, a bit of momentum. I'd rather not have Leeds, but a lower league team at home, I'll take that.
Yeah, I agree with Leeds. And Bristol City as well are still in it, and they're scoring right now. Bobby Reid's on fire this season. I would like to avoid them, believe it or not. I'd see them as a bit of a game. But there's a couple of Premier League teams I wouldn't mind. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, I wouldn't mind them. Leicester wouldn't scare me too much. But we're getting to the series stages anyway. I do hope we get a favourable draw, a home game as well. I want another home game. I want to stay in this cup as long as possible. But injuries... We're going to talk about injuries tonight and Bilic's team selections and if there's a solution. But we'll talk about injuries first. Lanzini, I mean, oh, come on. What a kick in the nuts that is.
Yeah, I'm a bit conspiratorial about that one. I'd never fancied we'd see him very much. Do you remember, I think before the Man U game, I had a little conspiracy theory about it. Oh, and he's barely played. I think he's come on once as a sub, hasn't he? So... I don't know. I just wonder how much we're going to see him. He was there. I know, obviously, he goes to the games and he sits there and he watches the games. But I'm a bit worried as to the bigger picture and exactly how much we are going to see Manuel Lanzini in a West Ham shirt. I'm also slightly worried about how much the team needs him as well to create and open things up, it seems. And I think we've certainly dropped a bit of a clanger by not getting some cover in. But was it end of October or something now, is it?
There's two. There's the optimistic one, which is Bilic says he might make Swansea, but it's unlikely. And then there's the cautious one, which is Gary Lewin says after the international break, which is the 7th of October, I think.
Yeah, and that's sort of friends. Bear in mind, he didn't really have much of a pre-season. He wasn't overly involved in the friendlies and that as well. So how fit he'll be when he comes back, who knows? I mean, I can't even remember the game. He came on as a sub in the second. Yeah, he looked awful. He was giving the ball away. It didn't look like Lanzini. Obviously, we were bad in that game anyway. Without the benefit of a good pre-season behind him. So it's not like he was fit, he gets injured for 6 weeks and he comes back. He just hasn't been involved, hasn't played at all. I'm a bit worried about it.
That's what happens when your manager's under pressure, though. If Bilic wasn't under pressure, I wonder if he would have put Lanzini on in that game, knowing that he was only half fit. But because he was under pressure, he had to take a chance and think, well, I'm going to need to put my creative player on. We're 1-0 down at half-time. I need to put my man on and see if he can get a goal. So that was a...
Yeah, it is. But what you said there, my creative player, how bad is that? He says, yeah. Oh, that's my one creative player. Well, you know, that's not just Bilic's fault. That's a fault of the composition of the squad, you know.
Are you worried he's not signed a new deal yet? Or are you
I'm generally worried. No, I am fussed. That's my heart. I'm not entirely convinced that he's staying. I'm not. I said it before. As I said it before the Man U game. I'm not sure how many more times we'll see Lanzini in a West Ham shirt, and we need him. I rate him highly, and I know you do. You have done from day one, from the moment you saw him.
Has he been offered a new deal? Do you know? There's been lots of Lanzini's going to be offered a new deal. Lanzini's going to get a new deal, but I'm not really seen anyone say Lanzini's got a contract in front of him. We're waiting on him signing. I don't think I've seen any of that yet. Has he actually been offered a new deal?
I would imagine so, because everybody else has. Everyone's had a new deal. Everyone's been in for talks. Why
But
would they not invite him in for talks?
because if he's injured and the club knew he was injured, he wasn't going anywhere in that window. Even if someone bid 60 million, there's no way going past a medical. So why would they need to give him a new deal? Usually, give him a new deal in the summer to fend off competitors. If you couldn't move to a competitor, do you need to fend them off? Does that make sense?
I think you do. Yeah, no, it does make sense. I think you do, though, because I think you need to keep him happy, and I think you need to keep him motivated, particularly when they're arguably, everyone might have their own favourites, but arguably he might be the best player in our squad. Okay, some might say others, some might say him. What he certainly isn't is he doesn't have pay parity with those guys that are the top earners in the squad. I would imagine his wages are a long, long way down. I would say less than half, maybe even a third of someone like Andy Carroll's. And that's going to be an issue for him. So whilst they might not have had to offer him a deal to fend off those suitors, they certainly would have had to offer him a deal to keep him happy. And these days, not just keep him happy, keep his agent happy. You know, you've got to keep the agent sweet as well.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about him leaving yet. For the reasons I've said, David Sullivan, I don't think we're a selling club under him. As much stick as I'll give him for buying players, I'll give him a lot of praise for selling players. The other one, James Collins, pulled up against West Brom. I mean, this is, again, it's an awkward one. He pulled up in the first half and stayed on and got injured. So could it have been prevented? Well, probably didn't do him any good, but he's injured for 2-3 weeks. Big miss, though. Been quite consistent for a large number of months now.
He has, yeah. As a squad player, he's indispensable in many respects, and not just because of what he does on the pitch, but you know, it's as a Welshman who's bought into the ideology of West Ham, if you like. You know, he knows all about West Ham. I think he's got a wife. His wife's from Essex or something, I think, and we certainly need someone like that. Funny enough, with Tottenham coming up, you know, that's the type of guy you need in the dressing room, banging the claret and blue drum. So he is going to be a big miss. He's particularly a big miss, bearing in mind Slav had to change the system to the three at the back, and he was a big part of that.
We're going to go in and out of Tottenham here, but for Tottenham, who would you be putting in to replace him?
Well, who would I put in? If we're assuming he's going three at the back, let's say, so it'd be Font on the right side of the three, Reed in the centre. That's a tough one, but he's got two choices. He's got Ogbonna or Reed, Ogbonna or Rice there, really, to put in. I mean, some may say Kiate should go in. I know you like Kiate at centre back, but I think Obiang might be injured. I've just seen that somewhere, so I'd imagine Kiate will be deployed in the middle of the park. Who would I play? Might actually go with Rice, actually. I know, something? That's a big game. I know it is, but I might well be tempted to go with Rice.
Do you know something? On the preview tomorrow, I'll try not give my opinion. I'll let the other two have their say. Village gets a bit of a free pass here for me. You can pick either or, and I won't complain. If he goes with Rice, I get it. You're picking a guy that's been informed, done one mistake. Young lad, big test, he's pacer, he's quite strong for his age, etc. But if he goes with Ogbonna, I get why he's done that as well. He's going with the experience, etc. So I don't think there's a wrong decision as such. Maybe after the game we'll be saying that was the wrong decision. But before the match, Bilic gets a bit of a pass for me for that one. Whoever he picks, I get it. I would have said Kiate, but as you said, that's the other injury. Obiang's the other injury now. He's been carrying a knock for a couple of games now, but because Noble was out, they couldn't not play him. So they had to force him to play. But now Noble's back. They can get him out and let Noble play. I mean, Christ almighty, what is this, our fifth league game? We're having to sort of force players to play through injury because we don't have enough players to play. I mean, bloody hell. But Obiang, that's a big... If Obiang, Kiate, and Noble were fit, who would you have picked to play against Spurs? Because this has been a debate on Twitter the last couple of days. Who would you pick out of those three? So who would you have picked?
Well, I'll give you a long answer. At the start of the season when we did our preview, I said I thought Noble would probably play 25 to 30 games for us this season. This would be one of those games. My four names on the team sheet, because it's Tottenham, everything else goes out the window. Forget form, forget everyone else. This is Tottenham, and we hate Tottenham, right? So But you don't have to explain that to Mark Noble. You don't have to say to Mark Noble, we hate Tottenham. You don't have to explain to James Collins, we hate Tottenham. Andy Carroll would be in there as well. And I'd also play Michail Antonio because whilst he's not been at West Ham a million years, he gets it. He works hard. He's a battler. He's strong. I'd be putting those British-based players in there. So, yeah, and answer to your question, I'd probably be playing, given the choice, I'd probably be playing Obiang and Mark Noble if it was a middle two.
Could you use that reason? It's Tottenham. Could you use that reason to start Rice? I mean,
yes.
He grew up at Chelsea's youth squad. They hate Tottenham. Then he's come to us. We hate Tottenham.
And he's from Ireland, and the Irish hate Tottenham as well. Actually, I don't know. They might not. Hopefully, they do. No, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I would get as many British-based players in there as I possibly could, because, as I say, you don't have to explain it to them. Rice might not have grown up knowing particularly West Ham, Tottenham, but he gets it on British rivalries, you know, and you might have to explain that to a foreign player. They might turn around and say, "Oh yeah, we know all about derbies. We've got derbies where we come from, you know." But it's not quite the same, you know. This is Tottenham. It's West Ham, Tottenham. They can even call it our cup final. Tottenham do you know what? In the absence of us actually getting to a cup final, maybe it is. Last season was horrible, absolutely horrible at their place. Nasty, really nasty. Volatile atmosphere. The police were against us. Everyone was against us. They closed the bar at half time, and that's always a bad thing, closing the bar. And then we had joyous celebrations when we beat them at our place. It was everybody's favourite game of the season last season because of that. So it's a huge, huge game for us.
I'm going to pull you up on this now. You've just said you need to get players who are English in the squad. Well,
British with an understanding, British-based.
I'll take that. Creswell or Masuaku? I assume you're going for Creswell then, are you?
I think I'd have to go with Creswell for this one, yeah.
I thought you'd be switching to Masuaku, to be honest with you.
I like Masuaku. You know, I like Masuaku. I've been. This game is an isolated game. It's a different game. Maybe if we were playing somebody else, I might not even start Mark Noble in the middle. You've got to look at it on a game-by-game basis, but you've got to take this. Remember, I always say every time you've got to look at the context. You've got to look at the context. Well, this one, you haven't got to look at the context. Take this out of the context. Forget Bilic being under pressure. Forget we're just above the relegation zone. Forget all that stuff. Forget Tottenham struggling at Wembley. Forget all of those things. This is West Ham v Tottenham. And I'm really excited about it. And everyone's excited about it. Everyone's looking forward to it. Some people might be nervous, but if you're a West Ham fan, you're buzzing about it. And you don't need to have that. You need people in the dressing room explaining that to everybody else. Someone like Masuaku, who won't be playing, but you might have to slightly explain that to him. That you've got to. Someone needs to be in there saying, "Look, you can't muck this one up. You've got to give 100%." Whatever they're going to be saying in that dressing room. So yeah, I would be picking Cresswell.
In a couple of minutes, we're going to be discussing Bilic's comments over Hernandez and Andy Carroll, and if there is a way of playing them both together, as that's one headache he's got, as well as a record signing Marko Arnautovic. But before we get on to that, I just want to tell you, coming up, we've got a nice little announcement. Gonzo doesn't even know what this is. It only happened today, so I'm quite excited by it. It's quite different. And a bit of news about the under-23s as well, so stick around for that. But Gonzo, going back to Hernandez, Carroll, and I think you can throw Arnautovic into this one. The gaffer's got a headache for Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't like his comments, actually. Everyone's been...
Right, you know what? I think this is being taken out of context. I'll let you do your side, and I'm going to do the side which defends Slav a little bit here.
Okay, what makes you think I'm going to attack him?
Because you just said you don't like it.
Okay. So you had this big thing about, is he playing on the left? Is he not playing on the left? Oh, you know, we look at that. Oh, he spent as much time on the right as he did on the left, and as he did this, that, and the other. I think it's splitting hairs. I think the fact of the matter is he is not in his favoured position. So anyway, so someone puts up the graphic for the last one, for the West Brom game, and it showed him sort of in the middle. And it was almost a case of, well, there you go, I rest my case, he plays in the middle. What the graphic also showed, the average positioning, Andy Carroll and Antonio were all in advance of him. So then Bilic comes out and says, oh, he's not playing wide. Basically went on to say he's playing off the striker, just behind the striker. He's playing off. I just thought, well, hold on a second. If that's what he's doing, if that's what you want, why didn't you buy one? Because you can't have it both ways. Either he plays on the left or he doesn't play on the left. And if what you're going to do is use these graphics to show he plays in the middle, well, those graphics showed he was the third most attacking player. Well, I'll tell you what, I bet when he was brought in for his contract talks and to sign, they didn't say to him, you are going to be playing as the third most attacking right. I bet he was told he would be playing as now that striker. Whether you think he's playing left, right, or whatever, I don't think it's even argued that he is not in his best position. And I know he hit the bar in one of the games, and I just don't see him as a threat. I don't think he looks good out there. He works hard, that's great, but I don't think he's a threat. And I'll tell you what, if what he's going to do is deploy him in that position, whether you call it wide left or whatever Bilic wants to call it, slightly left and just off the striker, you might as well not even start Hernandez. You might as well just start Arnautovic there.
What about his comments when he basically said it's impossible to play the two of them together in sort of like, well, people are quoting, I'll defend him now, people are quoting that bit. What he actually says is, when I've got a back three, it's impossible to play them together. And I make him right, because I said to you, well, where do you put Antonio? Right wing back? Well, didn't everyone have a problem with that last season? Now, all of a sudden, you're happy for him to go right wing back because you want to see two up front with Carroll and Hernandez. But you can't have it both ways. Because for me, Antonio is the first name on the team sheet. He's the absolute first name on the team sheet right now. For Saturday, the first person I write down is Antonio, right wing, in he goes. And then I have Reed, centre back, in he goes. And that's before Hernandez. I would literally name them two before Hernandez. So my question to the viewers is, what is the solution? Bilic said it's impossible when we've got back three. So you can't just switch to back four, because Bilic never said it's impossible with a back four. He said with a back three, it's impossible. So you start with your three centre-backs. Then what do you do in order to get them two up front? And the person that I'm going to pull out, well, there's two. There's another one. First is Antonio. He's going to suffer in some way. And then Arnautovic, where does he go? But I'm going to come back to this now and say Bilic also said he's spoken to Hernandez and said it's sort of a short-term solution, this. I know you're not a left winger, but you need to sort of play that role for now. The reason I think that is because, one, he's waiting on Lanzini to come back so that he can move stuff about and get Lanzini in there. And two, this shows why we needed William Carvalho. Bilic wants to play 4-2-3-1. It's obvious. But he can't because Obiang, Chiatti, no ball. There's no combination out of them two good enough to play in that two. No matter what two you pick, there's too many weaknesses, okay? There's way too many. We've seen Obiang and Chiatti struggle against West Brom, who had zero desire to come into our third. They couldn't even control that game. So how are they going to control a game against Spurs? They're not. Noble, everyone said his lives have gone. Maybe, maybe not. I'm a big Noble fan, so I'm probably not the right person to ask. But him and Chiatti doesn't work. Chiatti wanders off. He's got no positional discipline to play that two on that side of the pitch now. Obiang and Noble, they're too almost like each other. It's too similar in a way. Neither of them are willing to move into the final third of that. They're almost too similar. So for me, we're missing one player, centre midfield. That's who Bilic wanted, William Carvalho. What Bilic has basically done, he's come up with a jigsaw of 11 players. Hernandez is one of them up front. But the problem is he's only got 10 pieces. His other piece is still at Sporting Lisbon. He's now trying to create a jigsaw using all these odd bits of pieces that don't fit into his missing Carvalho spot. He doesn't have someone to take Carvalho's spot. So he's got to make do as well. So while Hernandez has to, it's not ideal. Bilic is also having to make do without the man he wanted to in order to complete this. But for Saturday, I think he's got to drop Andy Carroll because, like you said, game-by-game basis. And for me, Spurs usually means counter-attacking football. And Andy Carroll is not counter-attacking football. Hernandez at the tip of that three with Antonio and our record signing, maybe that three. Would you start Arnautovic on Saturday?
Yeah, I would. Just to go back on your point, Bilic's problem is that he doesn't have a philosophy of play, as we know. Bilic's problem is not he doesn't have enough pieces for his jigsaw. Bilic's problem is he gets bored before he even finishes a jigsaw and constantly opens up a new one. So he doesn't know what he's doing from day to day.
I don't think you can say that because in the summer he's clearly said, I want to play 4-2-3-1. I need these 4 players, please, Mr. Chairman. And the chairman's not got one of them. So how can you, if you were to say to your wife, I'm going to make my kid a toy. I need these 4 bits, and she only gives you 3. Can you make her that toy?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know where this is going.
You can't. You can't. It's not the Dildo Brothers. That was last time. But you can't do it though. You need all your pieces. He's not got his. He's clearly. Do you agree? He wants to play 4-2-3-1.
I think at the moment he does. I just think Bilic finds a formation, he gets rumbled, he goes on a little streak of losing, he starts something else up again. I don't think Bilic knows what system he wants to play.
Last season, yes, but for me, in the summer, he's clearly identified 4-2-3-1. He's got the right back, he got a left winger, which we didn't have. He's got a left winger, and he's got his striker, but he's missing one more.
He said it was done. He said it was done. He said if we get one more, it'll be a bonus, but we're fine without it. So, yeah.
Oh, come on. I can go back and pull out comments, him saying he wants Carvalho, and he's confident Carvalho's going to come. Then he said about the whole one-out-one-in policy and 3 players left and nobody come in. So I'm not having that. He's happy with it. He got strung up.
Listen. No, I agree. He did. I'm not saying that was bad with that transfer. It was very, very badly handled. It's terrible. But I've got no confidence that Bilic has got some set system. I just don't have that much faith in him, mate. That he's got some set tactics that he's going to... I just don't think he does.
I think he's got a vision. But he can't try and he can't attempt it until he's got all the required players. He didn't have the required players, hence us struggling, and now he's switching back to 3 at the back.
Yeah, I've got. Yeah, I mean, listen, we don't often disagree as much. I don't see him as a visionary. I've got to say.
Put it this way. Where is our weakest area of the squad?
Oh, his central midfield is totally dysfunctional. Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's not.
So do you agree we need a centre midfielder?
Not necessarily. Carvalho wouldn't have been my choice if we had 40 million to spend. I thought, and I said it. I thought we needed a box-to-box midfielder or another creative one. That's what I thought we needed. I think bearing in mind Chiate plays at centre back. I think there is a way to get Chiate to play in a holding role just in front of back 4 in many respects, maybe like Kante plays or something like that. Do you need? If he needs Carvalho, it's so dependent on one player. Why did he even persevere with the formation for the first 3 games anyway? Oh, well, I don't know. Because
it was up to the chairman to get the bloody player in time for the first game of the season. When did that bid go in? I genuinely can't remember the date. But that email, I could probably look it up very quickly. Actually, Charlie can look it up now. Whatever date that email was, it wasn't the 31st of December. It was the middle of August. It was round about the middle of August. So that bid went in before we played Man U. So Sullivan knew before we played Man U. Carvalho was wanted.
Yeah, listen, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't want it to turn into something where I'm suddenly being cast as someone as sticking up for Sullivan's transfer policy. I'm not. I think you should, I thought we were spending 50, 60 million this window. We spent 13. Yeah. So,
let's move on. We're stuck with the team we've got. We know it's going to be 3-4-3 on Saturday, unless he pulls out a tactical master plan, but we'll agree he won't, and it's going to be 3-4-3. So would you play Arnautovic and Hernandez, or Arnautovic and Carroll, or Hernandez and Carroll, or would you try and find a way to go 2 up top?
Okay. So if it's 3-4-3, then we're not playing what I think we should play, which I would try and find a way to play Carroll and Hernandez in tandem through the middle. So let's say he's not doing that. He's playing your 3-4-3. If he's playing the 3-4-3, then he would have to drop Andy Carroll, but he won't. Okay. And this is where you've got to be brave, all right? This is where you've got to have the courage of your convictions. So let's take it as read that everything you've said is just true, okay? That he wanted Carvalho, couldn't get him, so now he's got this new system. And because of that, he's had a little word with Hernandez and said, listen, mate, it's a short term. I know you're not a winger, blah, blah, blah. Fine, he's not a winger, but he has to carry that conversation on to its next conclusion. I know you're not a winger. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry, but you're almost going to have to be sacrificed in this way, because we know Bilic's going to play Andy Carroll in that game. And I just think he's got to say, unfortunately, Xavi, I do have a left winger, and I bought him. He's our record signing. So I think if he's going to have the courage of his convictions, and if he is going to be brave, he should play Arnautovic, Carroll, and Antonio. Personally, I would take Carroll out. If he had to play that system, I'll take Carroll out and put Hernandez in there.
Do you worry about Spurs' right back, whoever it is, Trippier or I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Walker Peters.
No, it'll be Trippier or how I don't know how you pronounce his name, Orier or Rear.
Yes.
Bombing on down the right hand side. Do you worry that whoever our left winger is, whether it is Hernandez or Arnautovic, who both can be seen as quite not lazy, lazy when it comes to defensive? Do you worry about that? Should he think about that while he's picking his team? And maybe that's why he should go for Creswell for that sort of defensive stability, or should he spring a surprise and go Creswell, Masuaku ahead and bench Arnautovic and Hernandez?
Oh, blimey, that's a lot of questions. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about Tottenham players. I've got to say, I just my natural default setting is I think they're all overrated and crap. I think we've got to go for it. I just think we've got to go for it. I don't think you can worry about them too much. I think it'd be a big mistake if we have a home game where it's going to be the loudest the stadium's been for a little while. If we go there and try and devise a defensive strategy that's where we sit back and invite them onto us, I think we've got to go for them. And if he decides that the best way to go for them is with Arnautovic, then do it. Don't draft someone else in because they're more defensively able. What I also would say, having seen Arnautovic in the pre-season friendlies, it's not like he never tracks back. He does track back and he does get into that left-hand side position. And he's also very strong as well. So he can muscle people off the ball. He certainly will make a damn better fist of being a left winger than Javier Hernandez will. Because just for that system, we're hoping that there might be that one occasion where he does get central and drift in and get a shot inside the box. It's unlikely to happen. I think the benefits of having a proper left winger out there for the whole game far outweigh the possibility that Hernandez might ghost in at some point.
Yeah, but anyway, that's enough from the Spurs game. Gonzo, just quickly, what's your score prediction?
Ooh, I think we're going to win. I do. I think we're going to win 2-1. I think we're going to do them.
Well, tomorrow night, Thursday, we will have our preview. I will be speaking to 2 other people, and I'll give my prediction then, so join in for that one. Gonzo, do you want to know about the under-23s, or do you want to know about...
Surprise, I want to know the surprise thing, is what I want to know about.
Okay, under-23s first it is. Quite a few people have asked me this season anyway, why don't the club stream under-23s games? So then we watched the West Ham Liverpool under-23s on Monday via our Liverpool FC TV subscription.
It's well, you get yourself signed up, people.
How much is it, Gonzo?
It's £4.99 for the month. Only a fiver for the month. Liverpool FC TV. Don't miss it. Get it, sign up.
Almost believable. Well done. 7 out of 10 for that. But yeah, so after our show on Monday night, a couple of people tweeted me and going, why don't the club do streams so we can watch them every week? So I contacted the club, said, why don't you do streams every week so we can all watch it every week? So the club got back to me and said, it's been planned. The club are actually planning on streaming the under-23s sometime in the future. And I believe it's going to be free. So none of this £5 a month at Liverpool.
I'll cancel my Liverpool subscription.
It's going to be free. So I'll tell you more when I see more, but fair play to the club for that one, actually, because it'd be good to get the under-23s out there. So let us know at home and you'll be tuning in. Right, surprise news time. It's about a story. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Just confirm, you generally don't know what I'm on about, do you?
No, hold on. My Facebook stuff keeps popping up. I don't even use Facebook. Sorry, my sister's popped up. Right, there you go. Got rid of her.
Right, well, for the... Who did we just play? Must be, yeah, it was West
Brom.
Must have been West Brom. Yeah. I tweeted Sky Bet, as I do every weekend, with my request a bet. So I said, can I get odds for West Ham to win? I can't remember what it was. I can't even remember the bet now. There's 4 or 5 things. West Ham to win, Antonio to score so many corners or something. So they got back and said, it's 20-1. So I put my free £5 bet on it, and I tweeted it. Although it was Huddersfield. It was the Huddersfield game because it was on Sky. I remember that now, on Huddersfield game. So I put my £5 on. So I tweeted it. This is my bet for the night. 20-1, get £100 back. So the Carlton Cole parody account on Twitter replied with his screenshot. He did the same bet. said, oh yeah, a pint of this comes in. That was that. Alan Alger, who's one of the top dogs at Betway, replied to us saying, with a link saying it's 22-1 with the club sponsors. I thought, oh, hang on about, touchy. So Cat & Co. Parody account, being Cat & Co. Parody account, replied going, well, give us some bloody free bets and we'll do a bet. But anyway, so I made a mental note. So coming to the Bolton game, I messaged him, Alan Alger, said I want odds on West Ham to beat Bolton, West Ham to keep a clean sheet, Sacco to score, over 1.5 Bolton cards and over 5.5 West Ham corners. Didn't quite win. Corners were only a bit that let me down. But he replied with a link saying, I'll give you 7-1 at Betway. Here you are. So, okay. So anyway, I did the bet. £10 on. It lost. Fair enough. Alan Alger messaged me today. Do you want to do this again for Spurs? Give me your stuff. I'll give you a bet. And Betway are going to put a bet on with their own money. So, and if it wins, the money is going to go to charity. And the charity we're doing it for this weekend is for that little girl, Isla, that West Ham fan that's got a rare child's cancer. So I don't know the odds yet. I've not got them yet. They're coming tomorrow. So I'll update it on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, follow us at Hammers_chat. I'll put the bet out there with the odds at Betway. And the bet I've done is West Ham to win, Antonio to score, Martin Noble to get a card. That's the three things we need to happen. But Betway, they're going to be putting a bet on, and if it wins, the money is going straight to Isla. We don't get anything. Betway don't get anything. It's going to Isla. So cheers for that. But the link,
Betway, yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch though, because it means I get the bet I do every week anyway. But it gives us something little. The link for the charity is in the description below. So if you want us to know who Isla is or what Isla's got and what the money's been raised for, all descriptions are in below, and you can donate there as well. It's a fantastic cause. But yeah, so that's my little story, Gonzo. Did you enjoy my little story?
I did. Very good. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, I thought, to be fair, when you were going halfway through, I actually thought you were going to say, I got it wrong on the corners, but Betway were so kind. They've actually paid out to all West Ham fans on the bet. But it's still a nice thing that they did. No,
but Alan, if you watch it, I wouldn't mind that.
You can do that, Alan, yeah. And I didn't bet at all, Alan, but if you want to give, then that would be nice as well, Alan, old son.
I wouldn't mind the 80 quid or just my tenner back. I'll be happy with my tenner back.
I'll have his tenner, Alan.
Just put it on my just put it on the Spurs bet I've just asked for. Just put my tenner on that. That'll be good. Cheers, Alan, mate. But right, we'll be taking your questions in a minute. So get your questions in on the live chat for you watching on playback. When we're doing the live stream, there's people in the live chat chatting to Charlie, and they will put their questions in. So put your questions in. But Gonzo, what do you make? I've been saving this. What do you make of our new tyre sponsor on the shirt sleeve?
Oh, you got to know. You've got to tread very carefully when you speak about things like that, to be honest with you.
That was awful. That joke is awful.
Sorry. I've been bouncing around in my head for a while trying to get that one out.
Right. Do you want us to kick off some questions?
I would say, actually, the colours clash. The colour, the red and the claret don't go. I don't care if the sponsor is, to be perfectly honest, but would have preferred it to sort of tie in. Everton got a lot of stick for the Angry Birds, but at least there is white on their kit. Do you know what I mean? It's blue and white, and it's white, so you sort of don't notice it. Anyway,
Ray says, do you think we should bring in somebody for set piece training? Well, he said, would you bring in a former world superstar for a masterclass training session? If so, who and what would they do? Good question, actually. So he said, i.e. free kicks or tricks or passing, etc.
No, Ray, I've got to say, I wouldn't. I think there's people. We saw it with Marcus Brown in the under 23s game. I find it ridiculous that a professional footballer could not curl a ball over and I don't know what needs to happen. We do seem to suffer at West Ham, I've got to say, a little bit with deliveries, and we sort of have struggled for a little while. Obviously Payet came in and was really good for a period, and it looked like Lanzini might be able to step up, but crikey, you should be able to kick a ball and curl a ball, shouldn't you?
I think you've misunderstood the question. I think he's trying to have a bit of fun and saying if you could bring in one guy to teach one thing for one training session, free kicks as an example.
Oh right. Well, we've already got someone there. We've got Julian Dix is already there. Julian Dix can teach Mark Noble how to slide in 2-footed right at the end to get the yellow card, so as Geo gets his bet.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a booking anyway. He always gets a booking against, well, most weekends, never mind against Spurs. I would bring in Claude Makalele to teach Cheku Kiati how to be a defensive midfielder. Maybe, or Patrick Vieira. I'd bring in Makalele or Vieira to teach Kiati how to do it. Just play in front of our defence, please. Be an enforcer. How to impose yourself on the game. That's what I would do. That would sort out the William Carvalho situation. We didn't need him anymore. Saves 40 million as well. Tom is asking, interesting question, this one. Has your season expectations now changed given our start?
No. I can't remember what I said at the start. What did I say? What was my prediction?
I think you said 11th.
Yeah, no, not really. I still think that's possible and still want to win a cup.
Yeah, to be fair, I've said top 10 and win a cup. We're still on for that. Do you know something? I think it was actually Bilic that said it, or it might have been someone else high up in like journalism that supports West Ham. I'm not sure who, but he said if you lose 3 games in a season, if you lose 3 games in a row in the middle of the season, but you're 10th, no one cares. No one bats an eyelid if you lose 3 away games in a row. No one honestly bats an eyelid. But because it's at the start of the season, there's so much thrown at it. And I took a bit of perspective from that. I thought, actually, he's right. If we had 3 home games at the start of the season, won them all, we're sent 8, and then we lost 3 away games in a row. And one of them was at Man U. One of them was a last-minute penalty at Southampton. Granted, the Newcastle one was embarrassing. Would you be concerned? Probably not. So there is a bit of... So for me, and you, I suppose, our season expectations are still on course. We can still make the top 10, and we're still in the League Cup. So we're okay. Now, Gary asked this question. I was going to ask it. It was on my notes, but I somehow missed it. What's the deal with Bilic now? Remember, Huddersfield, lose, you're out. Okay, fine. We've beat Huddersfield. We drew West Brom. We've beat Bolton. So how long's he got now? How long until Bilic out comes back around?
Gary, I've got to say, I just think the best Bilic could ever hope for is to see out this season, is to get to the end of his contract. And I honestly don't think the owners have any. We saw this with Avram Grant. I don't think the owners have got any huge desire to sack someone before the end of their contract. I think they like a manager to run his contract. I don't think they like buying other managers out their contract. They don't like paying a compensation. I think he's won himself a stay of execution. I would also say that Huddersfield were terrible. Were absolutely awful. I thought West Brom showed no ambition at all, and Bolton were worse than both of those. So our 3-game streak without a loss is built on shaky foundations. But I think Everton have done us a favour, and I also what Gio said earlier, he gets a free pass about who he plays at centre-back. I also think Bilic gets a free pass in this game. I think if we lose this to Tottenham, it's not the end of the world. Everyone's not going to be saying sack Bilic. What I do think, though, is if he does win it, I think he's almost tied himself up. We go close to mid-table. He's won against Tottenham. I think he gets to see his job out until the end of the season.
Hey, I think the Saturday will tell a lot. I think if this... I can take a defeat against Spurs as long as we give 100%. That's all we've ever asked for West Ham. As long as we play well. If we get humiliated 4-0, Hernandez is left wing, the knives will be back out. I don't care. I know it's Spurs, but the knives will come back out. We get thumped in Hernandez is left wing, or Hernandez doesn't start, the knives will be out. What I will actually say is one ex-West Ham employee on his radio show earlier said that a player had a late fitness test today. He can't say who, doesn't want to say who. He's told me who it is, okay? So keep your eyes out for the team news. And if the news comes out, I will back ex-West Ham employee up and say, yes, he did say this player, but he's not putting it out in the open yet. So it's one to watch out for Saturday. But Billy, for my opinion on Billy, I hope he's fine. Luckily, after Spurs, if he does stay, we've got Swansea at home, which is a very winnable fixture. It looks like a very... I know they drew at Spurs, but I think they'll be a bit more open when they come to the London Stadium against when they went to Spurs, and then we're happy to take the 0-0. I'm not so sure they'll be happy to take the 0-0 at West Ham, so they'd probably be a bit more open against us, not play into our hands a bit more. I think that's a winnable fixture, so he could very quickly lose one, but he could very quickly win the following week and cool the nerves a bit. It's amazing what a difference a league win, a league draw, and a cup win does for the mood. I don't know about you, but have you noticed there's a change in optimism about this Spurs game all of a sudden?
Yeah, I mean, but that's football when you look at it, and as much as we all agree that the midfield can be a bit shaky at times, you look at that squad and you look at the players he can put out in the first team, and we've got some bloody good options. We've had a conversation tonight about whether you drop Xavier Hernandez or Marko Arnautovic. That in itself, do we drop Andy Carroll? I mean, this is the position we find ourselves in, and that's why I don't think. That's why we talk about predictions. Why is my prediction for 12 still safe? Well, you've only got to look at a lot of the players in our squad. We are in a position of strength. We've got 2 left backs. We've got 2 right backs. We've got lots of centre backs. We've got our 3 strikers are all fit at the moment as well. We've got a lot going for us. Lanzini's out if he comes back. It's. I think what you were saying about the Swansea game. I think you are. I think we look forward to that. I think we've got a chance of winning that. And I just think the whole mood has been lifted not just because of the win against Bolton, but I just think all those players coming back as well. I do think the Arnautovic one was a big hindrance at the start. I think he missed him. I think he let Slav down. So he's got it's no coincidence that Slav came out and criticised him, said, I want more. Well, actually, Slavin's owed more by Arnautovic. We need to see a bit more of that. But yeah, everyone does seem a lot more confident.
Sacco, you mentioned him there. Nobody's asked this question. I'm going to ask you, what's your opinion on Sacco now? I mean, he's been a grumpy little bugger, but he's back, he's fit, he scored again. Granted, it was against Bolton, but where do you stand on him? I mean, he's had mixed receptions twice now. He's had a bit of booing. Got a bit of boo at West Brom as well.
Well, he deserved to get booed because of the way he's behaved. Sacco can score goals, and that's a commodity that we cannot afford not to have. Does he deserve to start? No, but having him on the bench on what is looking like an increasingly stronger bench is a really, really good addition to have. Got 2 options really. Hopefully we get him scoring. Do we get a bit of money for him in January? Someone comes in. That would be good as well. If not, he goes and he leaves on a free at the end of it, and he scored some goals. He got a last season out of him. His attitude stinks. I think it really does. Bilic has praised his attitude today, but I remain to be convinced. Somebody said today, someone on the forum, I can't remember who it is. I'd like to give him credit, but maybe it was Billy. And he said it's almost like he's forgotten it's the fans that pay his wages, and he's treated West Ham Football Club and the fans with utter contempt. He's completely selfish and thinks about himself, and he's done it on more than one occasion. So he owes us some goals, and he owes us lots of goals. And but you know, we welcome him onto the bench, and we'll use him while we can, because he's used us. So let's use him and let's get some goals out of him.
Yeah, what I did find interesting though, when Bilic said his press conference and you got asked about Sacco, he said something about how he didn't know what kind of permission Sacco had, which insinuated that Bilic thought Sacco had some sort of permission to go to France. And since then, Bilic has said he's praised Sacco, he's been picking Sacco. I wonder if there's more to it there, but going by what we've been told, i.e. he buggered off for his medical and stuff, that's still doesn't sit. I was wanting to get rid of him in the summer. I was happy to pay him to leave the club because of his attitude and stuff. I've not changed. I won't boo him. I've never booed the player. I'm never going to start booing him. But when he comes on as a sub, I haven't clapped him. I didn't clap him against Huddersfield. If he was to, I'll cheer if he scores, but that's because West Ham have scored, not because Sacco scored, but because West Ham have scored. But it's still a funny one with me. I still don't think he should be a West Ham player, but we're stuck with him. And it's a situation I don't like being in, if I'm honest with you. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that we're almost being held over the barrel a little bit about sort of like player power going wrong again. That this guy once out can sort of be the third choice striker because he chooses to be. It's a bit.
Well, because we didn't sign another striker, we thought we needed another one. Then we could have played hardball otherwise.
Yeah. So let's move on to the next question, Billy. What does the future hold for Declan Rice, and could you see him as a future captain?
Big time future captain. The future is very, very bright for Declan Rice. Crikey, Reece Oxford has chosen the wrong time to go out on loan and not be playing games, I believe. This boy has come through, but I think players like this benefit sometimes from somebody else having the limelight. I remember a similar thing with Michael Carrick. There was so much attention on Joe Cole that sort of Michael Carrick came through and has had a wonderful career, Michael Carrick, and he looks good. He looks really good. He can read the game. There's some things you can teach, like Hernandez. You'd say Hernandez's best quality is he can make space in the box. You could run lots and lots of drills. You can improve your left foot, improve your right foot, but there's something up top that allows him to ghost into space, and that's just an instinct. I think Rice has got that at the other end. I think he reads the game. Ron Greenwood used to have a thing about when you receive the ball, already know what you're going to do. Trevor Brooking used to say that Greenwood always used to say to him, have a picture in your head. So Brooking always said when he received the ball, he'd already taken a look around. He knew he was there. He knew he was there, and he'd already decided what he was going to do. So he didn't have to receive the ball and then think what to do. So even though he wasn't the quickest guy, Brooking, he was quick. I thought Sheringham was like that. I think Rice is like that. I think he's a cerebral player. So, yeah, I mean, he looks really, really good. Hopefully he stays with us, and he's got a bright future.
He's got a big future. It's up to him what he does in future. It's all down to him. I will credit Bilic as well for playing him. It takes a lot to play a 17-year-old kid, now older now, but to play him, he's getting his time. I think he was good. It was good to see him centre back against Bolton. I do like the fact that he got a shot in his sort of natural position of, like, he's giving them a go there, just say, well, here's your chance in there. But I can only echo what you said. The future for Rice looks nice, and that's for sure. Billy is asking, what's your thoughts on Martin Samuelsson?
I thought Billy just asked a question.
Well, maybe a different Billy. I don't know.
Oh, is it Billy? We did an under-23. We covered the under-23s the other night, Billy, and yeah, he used to be the future. Is all I can say about him. I would expect Samuelsson to have dominated a game like that and taken the game by the scruff of the neck. I discussed that he's one of the bigger players in the team, whilst he might be quite skinny. He's a tall boy. He's played in the lower league, so he's been a bit rough and ready and been hardened to that. And he looked really good. Saw him at the Boleyn, saw him in some friendlies, looked really good. Saw him against Peterborough before he went out to play against them as well. Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to make it, and there are other hungry young players chomping at the bit, and you've seen three of them last night come on as before. You know, aside from Rice, you've seen three young attacking hungry forward players come on. I just wonder if he might not make it at West Ham.
Yeah, I thought for a while he might struggle. He's got all the tricks, but I don't know if he's got the brain to back him up a bit. It's just a shame. He's clearly got a lot of ability, and he will make it at some level. Will it be the Premier League at West Ham? I don't know. He might make it the Premier League. Junior Stanislas is the best example. One player that was sort of dismissed a bit, and he's in the Premier League now. I'm more hopeful of others. Nathan Holland, for example. I still think Marcus Brown will overtake him, but I'm more hopeful of other players than under 23s, Martin Samuelsson, unfortunately. But the boy's got talent. It's up to, a bit like what I just said for Rice. It's up to him. It's up to Martin Samuelsson. It is up to him. And I'm quite confident he's got the best person in charge of him, Terry Wesley, actually. I'm quite confident he's got the right manager. So it's up to him. Mark is asking what we thought about Saeed last night. Mark, we were at the game. We didn't see it. We're not going to pretend we were at the game. But there's people on the forum at hammerchat.com were there, and they have written reviews on him. So go on there and click on the Bolton thread, and you can have a read on reviews on him and all the other players that was involved. And Paul is asking if you could bring in an ex-player, like pick him up from his time at West Ham and move him into this team, who would it be?
Oh. Well, we're gonna have to have a midfielder, because we need a midfielder at the moment. You can't look past Billy Bonds. It's as simple as that. Billy Bonds. What can you say? What's a player?
I would probably bring in Rio Ferdinand. I'm a bit younger than you. part of me is tempted to pick another player because I've never seen them play. I'm tempted to pick one of those players so I can see them play, if that makes sense. But Rio Ferdinand would be worth 100 million these days. So have him, please. Get him in that centre back alongside Winston Reid. We won't need another midfielder. He ain't getting past them two. That's a two I'd pick. But interesting question, Paul. You viewers, let us know who you'd pick. I'd imagine a lot of people will say Payet, maybe. Christ, we're missing him. But there's all the legends as well.
Do you know, it's just on that before we go. It's always a temptation, and it's like you just said there. So you pick Rio Ferdinand because that's who you remember from your era, and it's always difficult when players are from different eras. Particularly, you didn't see him play. It's going to be a lot easier for future generations because there's going to be all this footage that's online. So, I remember watching this bit of footage, and it wasn't even about a West Ham player. Geezer up in Scotland, Jinky Johnston.
Yeah,
Jinky Johnston. And it's this grainy black and white footage, and you think the geezer was an absolute wizard. And it just sort of makes you wonder, all these people that you never really got to see, and the footage doesn't really exist, like Nat Lofthouse and Stanley Matthews, and people, believe it or not, some people do think I'm a bit old. I never saw those guys play. I did see Billy Bonds play. I did see Trevor Brooking play, though. Towards the end of their careers, certainly. And I think there's always a temptation to think what you've seen is best, and certainly when people are older than you, for them to think what they saw back in their day was better than they've ever seen now. But I do remember, funny enough, my old man who would watch, Bobby Moore and watched everyone. It's tempting for them to say, "Oh, that was all better. It was all better back in the day, all better back in the day." And but sometimes a player comes along and he will turn around and say, "Yeah, actually, this boy would have known how to play back in the old days," and stuff like that. But it's just fun. It's always an interesting one. Different players from different generations.
Final question from Mark says, do you think we need another creative player, which we've already alluded to? And if so, who would you go for? Let's just say the transfer window was open today for another week or something. We've also got the £40 million burning a hole in the pocket from William Carvalho, or 23 million over 3 years, if you've read the email. But, oh, by the way, that email was on the 10th of August. Charlie did look it up. 10th of August, that email. So
when did the window finish?
The 31st of August. Oh. But the season started on the 13th, so it went in 3 days before the season started. So,
okay.
Bullets. My point is, Sullivan would have been aware Bullets needed a defensive midfielder well before the season started. But anyway, let's go back to this. Mark, creative player, you've got 40 million. Let's take 40 million. I think that's fair. Who would you go for? It's an interesting one, I think.
I would probably, because I think you might get him, I'd probably try Nick Matter from
come on! Matter for 40 million for Man U.
No. You don't think so? No, you don't think you don't. Well, how much do you think he's worth?
I don't know. You're not getting one Matter.
I don't like him, Mourinho. I don't like him.
Oh dear. There's no way you're getting. Oh, bloody hell. This is not good.
Listen, I don't know. If I don't say that, I'm only going to say Jack Wilshere. We keep saying Jack Wilshere. I have to pretend that I know about somebody on the continent, which I don't. What's the geezer, the Croatian geezer?
Perisic.
No, I don't even know who that is.
Not Modric.
Begins with H. No, begins with Modric. Begins with H. The young lad.
Halilovic.
Yeah, Halilovic. So I have to pretend that I think he's a good player, even though I've never seen him play. So I don't know. It's the truth.
I think I remember watching post-match pint around about when the window was shutting, and Ryan said, when the Carvalho thing was in, Ryan had said, if we're bidding 40 million for him, why are we not bidding 40 million for Sigurdsson? Because he'd much rather see Sigurdsson here. And I think that's a perfect player. It would have been the perfect player. I mean, now, in all honesty, I would probably go for Gray at Leicester because he's got the pace, he's got the potential ahead of him. But if you want the finished article, maybe Perisic out into Milan. I mean, that's probably just as unrealistic as Mata. I don't know how much he would cost in this market these days. But I don't know. It's a struggle to think, actually. They're quite... Although I do like that Brazilian at Watford, Richarlison. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. He's one to get him in your fantasy league teams. If you don't already have him in your fantasy league team, get him in. Richarlison over at Watford, he's going to be a good player. Him, but I don't know. I think you just have to keep your eyes out, see who's creating stuff in the Championship, etc. But no, not one man.
Yeah, Mark. I tell you what, you'd be laughing the other side of your face when in January Juan Mata walks through the door. I tell you that much now. We've got Rafa Benitez in charge, and he buys Juan Mata.
I'm surprised you didn't pull out Gonzo Shelby. You like him?
Well, I thought I'd do. He's a box-to-box midfielder. I think he's a bit mental though. He might be a bit mental. So, but he's a good player. But yeah, he's a bit of a fruitcake. Got a touch of Joey Barton's about him, I think. Who's another good player? Joey Barton. Mental though.
I should ask him about betting for this Betway thing we've got going on from now. He's usually got some good tips. But is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything we've missed? Anything you'd like to throw in?
No, see, I'm still trying to think of an attacking midfielder, and I can't. People shouldn't ask me these questions. I know nothing. Ask me about the rugby union, I might know a bit more about it. But yeah, it's who knows, mate. That's why we got scouts. Let the scouts do their work.
Yeah, bloody hell, man, matter. But anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and leave your comments down below. There's plenty of questions. What creative midfielder would you go for? Don't say Mata.
No, do say Mata. Better Mata or Martial, pair of them.
Oh, bloody hell. But the big question, how does Bilic put Carroll and Hernandez in up front together with three at the back? And most people are going to say Antonio right wing back, but are you willing to sacrifice Antonio right wing back in order to make all this happen? Let us know your thoughts. I think it's an interesting question. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, what's Bilic talking about?" Blah, blah. But then if you think about it, well, what's the solution then? Don't just criticise him if you can't come up with one either. He's struggling to come up with one. He doesn't want to, Zabaleta's playing fantastic right wing back, so you can't necessarily put Antonio there and remove Zabaleta. Zabaleta doesn't deserve to be shifted out of there. So I think it's a lot easier said than done anyway. But good news anyway, under 23 streaming is in plans at West Ham. There's no date, but we'll update you when. So, and also the Betway bet will be going on our Twitter at @hammers_chat. So keep your eyes out for that. And once again, thank you to Betway. Fantastic cause it's going to. Charlie links below. But Gonzo, it's goodbye from you, I guess.
Goodbye from me. See you at Tottenham. See you at Tottenham, fellas.
And I will see you tomorrow night for the Tottenham preview. I'll have two different guests. We've heard Gonzo's thoughts. You'll get two more. And we'll see you next time. Catch you later.